All right, guys, so we're back here. Well, we're not back here, we're still here. This is my measure for my window. So I've been looking at the house for these folks. It's their first house. Kind of wanted to maybe give them a little advice. I'm looking at it from a kind of a contractor's point of view. First thing I notice are these gutters, right? These gutters are old. They're not hung correctly. You can see somebody crunched the downspout. They've got the small downspouts with the small inlets up there, and I'll show you what that means in a minute. And this is a 55-foot run. 40 feet is pushing it with the 3x4 downspouts. Now with the small downspouts, you really don't want to go over about 25, because they just can't handle the water volume. So, excuse my camera work, I got to climb up here on the bench and get no younger. So, check this out. Somebody came through here, which is good. You can see this is the top of your downspout, so it's not connected. This is your inlet. Yeah, there you go. I can't see because of the sun. So that's your inlet right there, right? That's a small inlet. The gutter can only handle as much water as can go down that inlet. What you want are the bigger downspouts with the bigger inlet. What a lot of these gutter companies do is they'll give you the bigger downspout with the same small inlet, which doesn't do you any good. So somebody took and hung these gutters with straps. So you can see there's straps going underneath the forced rail shingles. Now that's not necessarily a bad thing, but what the other thing they did is they got hidden hangers that are put on with drywall screws, right? They're not even screwed on with the proper stainless steel screws they're supposed to be screwed on with. And you can see as you go down the gutter that there's straps missing. There used to be gutter spikes in there. You can see this gutter is tilted way to the left. It's canted this way, which is better than being canted back that way. Problem is, when it rains, look at how wavy that gutter is. Everywhere it dips, you're gonna have water sitting in there, and that water's not gonna drain. Whoever did the roof didn't put proper ventilation, so they got two whirlybirds up there. As you can see, whirlybird on the left ain't working because they didn't put it up there right. It's got to be level. If it's not level, it doesn't work. If it's level, it works like the one over there on the right does. That is a passive vent. A lot of people think they spin and suck air out of the attic. That is not the case. They spin to keep water out of them. That's the only reason they spin. The ideal thing on a house like this would have been to plug the gable vents on the end, right? Cut the ridge at the top 2 inches from each side and put a ridge vent up there. That is absolutely 100% the best way to vent a house if you vent your soffits. Otherwise, a ridge vent doesn't work. Why? Because hot air goes to cold, takes the path of least resistance. As you can see, look at these nice big soffits, and there is not one soffit vent on this whole house. The best thing to do right here is to take and put LP Smart Side perforated soffit the whole entire length of this wall, all 55 feet. On the front and the back. What that does is that allows cool air to come up underneath the soffit and exhaust out that ridge vent the whole length of the house. But if you don't, it's like a person breathing. You can't exhale what you don't inhale. So if you don't inhale through your soffits, you can't exhale through your ridge. So you've got to be able to breathe, and they do not ventilate these houses down here in Texas the correct way. And I don't get it with the heat. Now, the other thing you want to do, if you're going to vent your soffits, you need to go up there in the attic, and you got to make sure there's baffles in the attic, because if there's not baffles keeping the insulation from clogging, there's an airspace up here where the joists come down and turn into where the rafters come down and turn into the rafter tails. There's a channel up there that has to have a baffle in there so the air's got somewhere to go. If that's filled with insulation, which it's probably not, because they don't really insulate these houses very well down here either, it's not going to breathe and it's not going to work. So it's a system. You got to do it right. They just put a new roof on this house. I think they did it just to sell it, obviously. And, you know, look, we don't do roofs. I'm not a roofer. I used to, but I'm too old for that stuff. But I know how to do roofs. I'm a licensed builder, right? They don't have builder's license in Texas, but I had to have one in Michigan, which is where I'm from originally. So anyways, look, back to the gutters. They used to have, this is how old they are, gutter spikes. That's what this hole is. It's from a gutter spike. They don't even have gutter spikes anymore. And look at this gutter. You see that? That's no good. When you get the weight of a hard rainfall in there, that thing's gonna fall down. And this is what I was talking about. Let me see if I can get behind this gutter. So you can see, hold on, there we go. Okay, what you're looking at here, there's the drip edge, and then that's your trim board that sits, your 1x2 that sits on top of your fascia. Ideally, what I would do is I would run a 6-inch gutter on here, and I would get off of that trim board and under that trim board. That's going to give you you're going to have access to the rafter tails. So when you put your hidden fasteners in there, you can fasten them into the rafter tails, and then That's going to hold that gutter up there, and you're going to be able to get a lot more pitch on it by doing that. And the water, you got enough of an overhang on that shingle. Generally, you want to go up under the shingle with your gutter, but you've got enough of the overhang. You've got enough overhang on that shingle. Here, I'll show you on this one because there's no gutter over here, which needs to be resolved as well. And then we'll talk about this bird box real quick. So let me show you over here. Right, so there's a drip edge on top of trim board, on top of your fascia board. So 1x2 or 1x3 on top of 1x6, on top of drip edge. And your gutter generally goes under the drip edge. In this case, you want to go underneath that board. This is a bird box. These bird boxes are not insulated. What happens with these things, especially if there's a granite countertop, I already said that in my last video, is that on the inside of there, that granite countertop has a tendency to get really cold. Even though it doesn't get cold in Texas, if you're a Texan and it's below 80, it's cold. So what we can do is we put 3/4 inch foam and some radiant barrier on there and reside it, and it solves the problem. And then over here you can see this downspout. We call it a kicker, but there should be on your elbow, there should be kicker to bring that water out away from your foundation 3 feet. That's what we need, right? So just wanted to show you all that. I'm going to bring that to the homeowner's attention and at least let them know so they can see from a contractor's point of view some of the things that they are probably going to want to address as they progress in home ownership. 2 other things real quick. The back door, the doors are wore out. As you can see, storm door is a right-hand storm door on a left-handed entry door. Your handle's over there. So if there was a storm on a left-hand door, you'd want a left-hand storm door, and you'd want from the inside, a right-hand entry door. So these are opposites. So I would get rid of the storm door and put a good quality back door in here. And then if you go over here and look through this window, the house is vacant, so don't worry about not being peeping Tom. Look through the window. So see that door right there? That's a Home Depot. Cheapo Home Depot door. Look at the daylight underneath it. When you turn your air conditioning on, guess where all your cold air is going? Right out the door. So that's probably just the threshold. If the door doesn't have an adjustable threshold on it, they didn't shim it correctly. If it does, they didn't adjust it correctly. So that can be fixed, but I would recommend, since you use your front door every single day, you get rid of the Home Depot garbage they sell over the shelf and you put a Therma-Tru door on there. We are certified Therma-Tru installers. You put one on the front and one on the back. You'll never have to replace the thing again. It's going to cost you a little bit of money, but it's well worth it. So just wanted to point that out to you so y'all can see. This is just going to be a continuation of the things that I'm going to start doing here with my video, and maybe I'll get better at it. Look, I'm a contractor. I'm not an influencer video geek, but I'm trying. And I'm just trying to get the information to you guys. When you choose a contractor, you really should choose somebody who knows what they're doing. If your contractor's not doing this kind of stuff and putting this information out there on the internet for you, then, I would question, what does he do when he gets to your house, right? A lot of guys don't do it because they don't want you to know. Why don't they want you to know? Because when they come out here to cut corners, if you don't know they're cutting corners. That's it in a nutshell. You need to know so that you can make sure they're not cutting corners. So that's all we got for today, and we'll come back here when these windows get installed and we'll do round 2.